Hello, it's Michelle Morand, and I'm here today to talk with you about procrastination. And most importantly, the four main reasons why you procrastinate, because I want you to be able to understand in the moment what's going on. And it's nice if you just have kind of a short checklist of a few things, because procrastination is something we all deal with. And there are four main reasons why any person's going to do this. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what those four reasons are. I'm going to give you a few suggestions of what to do with each. But I went to town with your written assignment for today, and I wrote you a really excellent synopsis of each one of these 4 points. And I've given you kind of a step-by-step of what to do if you find yourself struggling with any one of them. So lots of detail in your written homework, but let's go over it briefly so you can start to kind of play around with it in your head. So, one of the four main reasons that human beings will procrastinate is because they're simply feeling overwhelmed. They legitimately have so much to do, they don't know where to begin. This, of course, is not the greatest place to be, because if you're just feeling so overwhelmed you can't even get started, and yet you know you have things that legitimately need to be done. That, of course, is going to increase your stress. And guess what you're going to do? If you're someone like I used to be who uses food to cope, you're going to find yourself eating or doing some of your other coping strategies, like, binging on Netflix, or just avoiding and isolating certain things, maybe playing some video games, which in moderation, all of that stuff is fine. But when you have a lot to do and you're overwhelmed because you don't know where to start and you're not getting anything done, then that just causes a whole nother problem. And really, it is hard to completely distract yourself unless you're using some pretty heavy substances or eating a lot. So here's what to do if you fall under that category. I have so many things that need to be done. I just feel overwhelmed. I don't know where to begin. For starters, just stop and pen and paper. Please get the pen, get the paper, get it out of your head and make a list of the things you're telling yourself need to be done, and within what time frame are you expecting yourself to do them. And then just ask yourself, for real, does this need to be done in that time frame? Really, I might wish it could be, someone else may have set that timeline for me, but does it really need to be done within that time frame? So let's just get real about what actually needs to be accomplished. From there, you go into prioritizing the things on your list. What really is the most important for me and anyone else involved? Not the easiest, not the one that is the most fun, although I don't have a problem with those as long as it's not going to cost you in terms of commitments you've made or added stress. But we really need to think, is this for real? What I'm telling myself I must do, must I really do it, or have I just set those criteria for myself? Um, and prioritize the things that are left on the list, what must be done when. Again, who else is going to be involved or affected? That can influence the choices you make and how you prioritize things. Once you finish those little vetting procedures and you know what you really need to do and you know the order of importance, if you're still feeling overwhelmed, you very well may not be at this point. Reality checks can be very grounding, and a lot of times the reason we're spinning and feeling so overwhelmed is because it's all in the back of our heads, feeling kind of nebulous. And once I get it out on paper, I see, oh, that's doable, an hour for this, half an hour for this, got it. But if you're still feeling overwhelmed and like the things that you need legitimately to be doing are too much to do, call for help. Yes, I know you've had to do it all yourself. I know you hate asking for help. I know you feel like a burden and you don't want to bother anybody, but ask for help. Let it be okay, at least with one or two of the tasks on your list, whether it's a colleague that you ask, or family member or a friend, or whether you hire somebody to come in for an afternoon and tackle a job that you don't want to do. Just really allow yourself to uh, to care as much for yourself and your time, and to value your time and how you spend it as much as you do that of others. And when you start thinking in that way, it makes more sense that, okay, if this is going to take me a few hours and I'm not going to enjoy it, and I can pay somebody $30 to do it, and I have $30, why wouldn't I do that? So I want you to really allow yourself to contemplate that. Okay, so that's one reason why we might procrastinate. Just feel too overwhelmed, got too much to do. We do a reality check, we prioritize what's left, and if and as we are able to do so, we delegate or ask for help. If you get stuck on that on any of these things because you don't know how, you can ask me in the Zoom call. We can book an individual session. Allow me to coach you through this, okay? Because a lot of time what we're getting stuck on is not the reality of the situation, but just it's weird for us to ask for help or to think about not doing everything ourselves. So let me help you with that. Number two reason why you and every other human being on the planet might procrastinate is you really don't want to do that thing legitimately. It's not your thing. It's somebody else's goal or someone else's expectation for you. You didn't come up with that idea, but maybe you felt obligated to agree, or maybe you even tried to speak up for yourself and say no, I don't want to do that, and somebody just overrode you or said, oh, sure you do, or any facsimile thereof. Um, if it's something that someone else wants you to do, what I would invite you to do, or a goal someone else set for you, or that you set to try to impress somebody, we need to back up the bus from that. Okay, that is not the way to build a healthy, trusting relationship with yourself, is following through on commitments that aren't even right for you, or things that you're genuinely into just because someone else told you you should, or that they expected that of you. Okay, that's what we call codependence, and we want to step way away from that, because the codependent pattern of prioritizing someone else's feelings and needs directly correlates to how anxious and insecure you feel, and that directly correlates to you using food to cope. So we're going to talk more about that in a couple of days when we start looking at relationships in general. But I want you to be on the lookout for that. Am I not wanting to do this thing because I didn't even want to do it in the first place? It's somebody else's idea, someone else's goal, and I felt kind of obligated to agree, or I didn't want them to be upset with me, whatever it is. Um, the other reason, or another reason, is I'm procrastinating because I'm telling myself I have to do something now, or I have to do it in a certain way that I know I don't really need to do. So we might have these expectations for ourselves of, okay, I'm going to get XYZ done today. But on some level, you don't really need to. It's not a priority. It might be nice. You might like to have it done. Or maybe it's just something that you feel you should because someone else is doing it. But it's really not necessary. It's really important for you to be able to be honest with yourself about when you really need to do things versus when it would be nice but not necessary versus when it's not necessary at all. This is part of you being curious. It's part of you really trusting yourself. It's part of you really building out that nice, healthy, solid foundation we've been talking about, so that your cortisol levels are low, you feel a lot less anxious, and you can navigate life more easily and without food. So being honest with yourself about when something is really necessary, truly critical, versus when it's just something that you may have told yourself you would do in a certain way, but isn't necessary. Maybe circumstances have changed from when you initially made that agreement, but you have got to be honest with yourself. As with the first piece about just feeling overwhelmed with lots to do, you really need to be honest with yourself about how legitimately urgent this thing is. Where does it really need to fit? And just watch how much less stress you feel when you're just straight with yourself about, okay, yeah, I know I said I'd do that on Friday, but really, maybe I was just trying to impress somebody else, or maybe I just thought I should, or it seemed like a reasonable timeline, but now that I'm looking at it, I realize, no, it's too tight a timeline, or it, again, really isn't necessary. Now, you're probably thinking, but then I'll just keep putting it off. Well, frankly, if it's something that you keep wanting to put off and you can legitimately put off, then it fits under the category of doesn't really need to be done, doesn't it? So there isn't really a problem. If in fact you find that you consistently procrastinate on a particular task, I mean, it might be that it's overwhelming to you. It might be that it's something that's really scary for you. But you'll be able to tell the difference between I really need to do this and I'm not, versus I said I wanted to, but I'm not. It's like maybe you sign up for some sort of course online, and you find yourself just really not following through with the material, in the way that you thought you would when you signed up. Well, okay, what was the reason you signed up? What needs were you seeking to meet? What were you seeking to achieve in joining that program? Have those needs been met some other way? Are those needs now maybe not as important as they once were? Have you actually, in fact, maybe already accomplished the goal that you had, as in needs have been met? There will be lots of reasons why your motivation for a particular topic or activity or responsibility changes. It isn't because you can't keep your word. It isn't because you have no willpower or you don't follow through. It's actually deeper than that, and it is more about what needs you had. What were the priorities that you were seeking to achieve in setting that goal in the first place? A lot of times when we're procrastinating on something, the thing we're procrastinating on, again, it's not really a priority. It might have been when we set the goal, but now things have changed and it isn't. And it's really important to be honest with yourself about that, because otherwise you end up feeling like you're letting yourself down, or you're not following through on things. It can be really diminishing to your self-esteem to be assuming that, oh, I set goals and I don't finish them. Actually, maybe I actually was wrong to set that goal in the first place. Hypothetically, maybe it really wasn't my goal or something I really had the time or should be committing to at that time. And or maybe I've managed to actually solve the problem I was seeking to solve in another way. The vast majority of the time, you're going to find that that's true. And then you're understanding, oh, no wonder I wasn't wanting to do that thing. I don't really need to. Last but not least, the fourth reason why you might procrastinate is that you're pretty sure you're not going to do it perfectly. And if you can't do it perfectly, you don't want to bother. Maybe because other people will judge you, maybe because you just need to be the best at whatever it is that you're doing. But if you can't guarantee that whatever it is you're doing is going to go exactly the way you want, you don't even want to start with it. Now, I know that resonates with you because it goes hand in hand with the use of food to cope and with dieting and so many other common coping strategies. This sense of um, I need to know before I've even done the thing once that it's going to be perfect or going to go the way I need it to go. And that right there is going to paralyze you. That need for perfection before you're even out of the gate, you're screwed. There's no way to feel genuinely enthused and motivated and kind of hopeful and expectant and have that nice anticipatory, excited energy that you want to have when you're initiating something new. You cannot have that when you're expecting yourself to do it perfectly the first time. There's a wonderful concept. I call it the 3 to 5 rule, and it comes from neuroscience. Neuroscience has shown that each of us need to be exposed to a new idea or a new experience 3 to 5 times before we even start to really understand it. We're certainly not masters of it after 3 to 5 times, but before, we need 3 to 5 experiences of, say, a person or a group of people or a particular setting or situation or ourselves doing a new task in order for our brain to understand the basic components well enough to even really assess whether we like it or how we really feel about it. So often we have one experience of something and then we expect ourselves to make a decision from there. Yes, sign on for the next 10 years or no, never go again. In reality, you need 3 to 5 experiences of something. Once I learned that rule, I just started making it a deal with myself where whenever I'm going to do something new, I'm going to let myself do it 3 to 5 times before I have any expectations whatsoever. This, of course, is assuming it's not life-threatening or harmful. But those assumptions aside, I'm going to let myself do something that might be, again, get together with somebody new, or go to a particular event, or try a new group, or again, just learn a new skill. I'm going to let myself do that 3 to 5 times before I even begin to assess whether it's something that I can really enjoy or can develop an aptitude for, or whether it's really a fit for me. And I really want to urge you to think in the exact same way, okay? So there may be lots of things that you're procrastinating on because you know you're not going to be able to do it perfectly the first time. Well, join the club. No one can. But I guarantee you, if you think just a little bigger, if we just expand outside of this instinctive immediate gratification right here right now mindset to just a little bit down the road, when I've got a chance to do that 3 to 5 times, I guarantee you those 3 to 5 encounters with that event or that thing are going to give you an opportunity to really gather a lot of information about you, about the task or the person or the place or the thing, and about how much of a fit it is for you, and about what's possible for you. At that point, it would be reasonable for you to decide, I'm not interested in this, this isn't a fit for me, or okay, it's going to take some work, but I have an aptitude for this and I can move forward with this. So, all that is to say, if you've been waiting for yourself to have complete confidence with something, or that it's going to be the way you want it to be before you even start, you're never going to get started. So, I want you to try my 3 to 5 rule instead. I'm going to do my best 3 to 5 times, and almost certainly the second time will be better than the first, the third will be better than the second, and so on. Almost certainly that's what you will see. And it's really important that you allow yourself to have that experience, like critically important, because that's how this part of your brain, that immediate gratification, gotta have it all, gotta do it perfectly, or why bother part of your brain, that's how that part of your brain starts to relax a little bit. It says, oh, okay, we don't have to do it perfectly right out of the gate. We've got this container. The instinctive brain loves a container. We've talked about that before. It likes data, it likes numbers, it likes to have a sense of this beginning and an end. So it doesn't have to be right now, but it needs to have a sense of, okay, 3 times or 5 times. And then it can relax. It can let you experience that thing 3 to 5 times with a little less stress or a lot less stress. And that allows you to take in more information and, frankly, to have a more enjoyable experience while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Okay? So, there's so much more I could say about each one of these 4 reasons why you'll procrastinate. I'll probably write a book about it someday, and almost certainly I'll run a whole program on this. Um, but for our purposes, I've written out a lot of detail in your emails that are coming to you today. And just a recap, the 4 main reasons that you will procrastinate. You legit have a lot to do and you're feeling overwhelmed. Okay? You don't want to do it because it's someone else's goal or expectation for you. You really don't need to do it now, or the way you're telling yourself you need to do it. And on some level, you know that. So you're kind of in resistance with yourself. And you don't want to begin at all because you know you're not going to be able to do it perfectly, or you can't guarantee you will. And that just feels like you're setting yourself up for failure. So why bother? Okay. So now, whenever you find yourself procrastinating, I want you to ask yourself which one of these 4. It will be one of them, if not a couple of them. And in your handouts for today, I've given you suggestions for what to do in each one of those scenarios. Okay? So you have fun with that. Take care. Have a good day.